They did not teach you this about money. This is Prof Alpha Podcast breaking financial myths, building alpha mindset and helping you win with money and life. Let's talk wealth.
We all know the feeling. It's that constant tension between the person we really want to be, the one who writes the book, gets fit, saves the money, and the person we actually are right now, just stuck in a scroll loop or watching another episode, always waiting for this mythical day called tomorrow.
It's the universal conflict, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got these huge ambitions, but then you just hit this wall of inaction when it's time to actually start.
Yeah. And we hear that inner voice all the time, right? I'm just not motivated, or I guess I just don't have enough willpower.
Right.
So for this deep dive, our mission is to sort of push past the cliches and pull out the actual concrete steps from the source material. Steps that explain what's going wrong mechanically and, how to fix it.
Okay.
And maybe the most powerful idea we found is this. This isn't some permanent character flaw. It's not a lack of ambition. It's a habit.
A habit of inaction.
Exactly. And unlike personality traits, habits can be taken apart and rebuilt. Okay, so let's unpack that. We're moving beyond waiting for motivation, because that feels like waiting for lightning to strike.
It really is.
We're focusing on the engineering of it all. And the sources seem to boil it down into 3 core strategies for today. First, making tasks almost impossibly small. Second, creating these automatic routines that get rid of decision-making. And third, this really simple idea called the 2-minute rule.
But let's start with the big question you're probably asking yourself. Why does starting feel so profoundly difficult?
Right. You look at a goal, maybe it's finally getting your finances under control. Your mind doesn't just think, open a spreadsheet.
No, it goes right to the extreme.
It thinks, I have to cut back on everything. Or if it's getting healthy, you picture yourself running 5 miles every single day, even in the rain. And those goals, they're not motivating, they're overwhelming.
They feel painful. And what's so interesting in the research is understanding that this isn't you failing, it's a biological decision. Your brain is basically wired to manage its resources. So it actively avoids spending energy, or what it sees as pain, and it seeks the path of least resistance. It seeks comfort.
So if a task looks exhausting or mentally draining,
the brain just flags it as a high-cost activity, and, it sends you right back to the couch or the snack drawer.
So the resistance we feel isn't really laziness, it's just my brain trying to be efficient and save energy. That's a huge reframe.
It changes everything. There's this concept called activation energy. Think of it like a rocket launch.
Okay.
That rocket needs a massive, massive initial burst of power just to get off the ground. Your big goals, like writing a book, they have this incredibly high mental activation energy.
So my brain sees the whole book and just says, nope, too expensive, abort mission.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that leads to this really encouraging message, right?
That we're not just lazy people.
We're not. Laziness isn't who you are, it's just a habit. It's a habit driven by this instinct to conserve energy. And that means we can outsmart it.
And how do we do that?
By making the task so ridiculously small that its activation energy basically drops to 0.
Okay, so that's our first strategy. Making it small. We fail before we even start because we're looking at the summit of the mountain.
Yeah.
But the sources say success is just about taking that first step. We need to dismantle the huge, scary goal into something that's almost laughably easy.
This is where we stop chasing perfection and just focus on progress,
Yeah.
even the tiniest bit of progress.
Like what?
Okay, so take that huge goal. Write a book. As a mountain, 200 pages. You tell yourself to write 5 pages today, your brain is just going to panic.
Right. High cost.
So the source material says, just reduce the task until your brain doesn't see a threat anymore. The task becomes, write 1 sentence today.
1 sentence, but my skepticism kicks in there. If my goal is 200 pages, isn't writing 1 sentence just wasting time? It feels like I'm cheating.
That's a great point, and it gets right to the heart of the psychology here. The 1 sentence isn't about the page count. It's about consistency. It's about your identity. When you write that 1 sentence, you succeeded for the day. You're no longer someone who wants to be a writer. You are a writer because you wrote today.
I see. So it's about building the muscle of just showing up, not trying to write a masterpiece on day 1.
Exactly. You're reinforcing the action. Let's take another one. Learning guitar. Trying to learn a whole song on day 1 is just a recipe for burnout.
High cost.
The small step is just practice 1 chord. You do that 1 chord today, you succeeded. And that success makes you want to show up again tomorrow.
So the benefit isn't just the output, it's about hacking the brain's reward system.
It is. These tiny efforts, one sentence, one chord, they start to add up. And every time you finish that tiny task, you get this little hit of dopamine.
A positive feedback loop.
Right. And it starts to counteract that initial instinct to avoid the task. The focus has to be on tiny progress, not instant perfection.
That leads perfectly into the second problem. Because even if I make the task small, I still have to remember to do it. And that's where willpower always seems to fail me. I feel totally ready at 8 a.m., but by 4 p.m., I'm just mentally wiped out.
And that's the reality that the sources confront head-on. We are not designed to rely on pure grit all day, every day. Willpower runs out.
Why?
Because every decision you make drains that battery. Psychologists call it decision fatigue. If you have to decide to write the sentence, you've already made it harder than it needs to be.
So strategy 2 is to stop relying on willpower and start building easy routines, like infrastructure for your goals.
Think of them as being on autopilot. They remove the need to decide and, crucially, they reduce friction.
Friction.
The goal isn't just to make the task small, it's to make starting the task totally seamless. It's like training wheels on a bike.
Okay, I like that.
The training wheels support you until balancing becomes second nature. Routines are those training wheels for your habits.
I've struggled with this myself. I want to spend an hour every morning on strategic planning, but I always get pulled into emails or something else. The friction for me is just having to sit down and think, okay, where do I start?
And that thinking is the killer. You have to set up your environment so the starting point is already there. The exercise example from the sources is perfect. If you want to exercise in the morning, don't rely on waking up and then having to find your workout clothes.
Right, because I won't.
No. Instead, you put your shoes, your water bottle, everything right next to your bed the night before. The second your feet hit the floor, the decision is made for you.
The path of least resistance now leads toward the goal, not away from it.
Exactly. So you need to ask yourself, what tiny piece of friction can I remove? If you want to read more, put the book on your pillow, not on a bookshelf across the room.
So the idea is to find a small routine that takes 0 willpower to start.
Absolutely. Maybe it's just writing your top 3 tasks for the day before you even look at your phone. Or opening a language app right after you make your coffee. These tiny automated habits create a momentum that willpower never could.
And momentum is the whole game. Which brings us to the final strategy, the one designed specifically to get past that moment of inertia. Strategy 3, the 2-minute rule.
This rule is the ultimate tool for overcoming that activation energy we talked about. It combines the idea of make it small with immediate action.
Because the hardest part is always just starting.
Always. The 2-minute rule is a promise you make to yourself. You just commit to working on the task for 2 minutes. That's it. That is the entire commitment.
And it's almost impossible to say no to that. If the task is reading some dense book, you're not committing to an hour, you're just committing to reading 1 page.
Which takes less than 2 minutes. That's the whole point. It has to be so short that the energy-saving part of your brain can't even object.
So cleaning a messy room isn't clean the whole room, it's wipe down 1 counter or clear off 1 corner.
Right. We get stuck in this trap of thinking if I can't do it all perfectly, I won't even start. The 2-minute rule just blows that idea up completely.
The sources have this really powerful analogy for this.
The ball on the hill.
Yeah, the ball on the hill. It's like you're pushing a heavy ball up a tiny incline. That first push to get it moving is where all the effort is.
That first push. That's the 2 minutes. That's you overcoming the mental activation energy.
And once the ball starts rolling down the other side,
inertia takes over. Momentum builds. It actually becomes easier to keep going than it was to stop. You sit down to read that 1 page, and suddenly you're on page 5.
So the 2 minutes are just to overcome that first point of friction. And there's a bonus tip here, right? A final piece to lock in the habit.
Yes, and this is so critical. You have to reward yourself for starting.
Immediately after the 2 minutes.
Immediately. Celebrate that tiny win. The reward doesn't have to be big. It could just be listening to your favorite song or making a cup of tea.
And that reinforces the behavior.
It makes starting feel good, which directly fights the brain's instinct to avoid the task next time. You're injecting a positive feeling into what used to be a painful process.
So if we look back at all of this, the big truth that comes out is, well, it's pretty liberating. Everyone struggles with this. Even the most disciplined people we admire. They didn't just wake up one day overflowing with motivation.
No, they designed a system so they wouldn't need motivation. They focused on consistency.
We've gone from just hoping for the best to having a real mechanism.
We have 3 clear steps. 1, Make the task so small that your brain can't say no. 2, create routines to stop draining your willpower. And 3, use the 2-minute rule to just get the ball rolling.
It's like you're constantly adding fuel to a fire. Your big dream is just this tiny spark right now.
Yeah.
But every single action, 1 sentence, 1 chord, 2 minutes of effort, that's a piece of kindling. You just keep adding those small, seemingly insignificant pieces day after day, and soon you don't have a spark anymore. You've got a roaring fire.
And we have to remember, through all this, that we're going to fail sometimes.
Right.
The sources are really clear on this. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the process. If you miss a day, that's okay.
The important thing is just to get back to it.
Just get back to it the next day. Try the 2-minute challenge again. You have to be kind to yourself while you're building this new habit.
Okay. So for you listening right now, let's end with one final thought to mull over. We know now that huge change comes from small, consistent efforts. And that consistency is built on action. And that action can start in just 2 minutes. So if you know what you need to do to write that email, start that research, whatever it is, what is that single 2-minute step you've been avoiding? What's the first push down the hill that you can commit to right now?